My name's Kevin Brand, and I started 512 Brewing Company. Technically, about a year ago, we started selling beer. We're just coming up on our first year anniversary. The brewery's located in South Austin. It's been a great year for us. We've had a lot of growth, as you would imagine, in the early phases of the business, but the response around the community has been really good, and just really pleased to be able to come out here and kind of rub elbows with some of these really great established breweries and feel like one of the group already. I want to tell you a little bit about the 512 beers. What's kind of unique about 512 is we try to use as many local and domestic and organic ingredients as we can in all the beers. So that kind of is one of the things that I think sets us apart a little bit. And we brew a couple of beers that are my personal favorites that are also staples in the community, like a pale ale and an IPA. But we also brew a couple of beers that are a little bit unusual, one of which is a Belgian-style wit beer. And that's the first one I'll talk about. It's about 5% alcohol. And all these beers, by the way, are available back there to sample if you want. The 512 Wit is a Belgian-style wit beer. It's about 50% unmalted wheat and 50% malted barley. And what's unique about wit beers from the other wheat beers of the world is some addition of spices, one of which is coriander, which is pretty common in Belgian beers, but what makes the wit beer kind of unusual is the typically orange peel addition, which gives some notable citrus flavors. I've kind of changed that a little bit, made it unique, and adding grapefruit peel to this beer. It's really a nice, light, crisp 5% alcohol beer that I think is it's got all the flavor that you want from a craft beer, but it's light and it's still refreshing. That was inspired by Pierre Celis. When I lived here quite a while ago. The Celis Brewery was around, and I really fell in love with their beers and the process. And so the wit beer is kind of homage to Pierre and his kind of time that they spent here selling a really great Celis White. The next beer that I want to talk about is our American Pale Ale. It's a little bit of a bigger beer in that it's got quite a little bit more alcohol. It's about 6.5%, I should say, percent alcohol. But it's got a really nice earthy hop bitterness that's balanced, I think, well with a malty character. But the hops are present, and the bitterness there, I think, is very delightful, kind of a palate cleansing. In the realm of pale ales, it's very American in that I'm using the kind of aggressive, a little bit more aggressive hop character there than your lighter beers. The next, the IPA, the 512 IPA is an India Pale Ale. If you're not familiar with that style, it's basically a pale ale that has been aggressively hopped to give it a little bit more staying power back in when it was designed in England. The Americanized version of that is also a really aggressively hopped pale ale, and I love our IPA because it's got a very nice balance. The malty kind of character balances out quite a complicated hop flavor of apricot and some vanilla and also some grapefruit. So the hop kind of profile in that beer I really enjoy, and it's balanced though. It's not aggressive. With a nice malty character that comes from some of the specialty grade caramel malts that we use. And the IPA is about 7% alcohol. It's got a little bit of a haze to it from being unfiltered. All the beers at 512 are unfiltered, so it's quite a hop load in that beer. It's dry hops, which means I think Justin described it very well. So it's dry hop with quite a bit of hops, and the total hop kind of poundage is about 2.5 pounds of hops per barrel, which puts it in that IPA category, frankly. I really encourage you to try that. The last one I'll talk about is the Pecan Porter, which a lot of people love. I get a lot of feedback about the Pecan Porter. That was our first seasonal beer last October. We're basically just wanting to do seasonals every few months to kind of mix things up at the brewery. I had a plan to do 3 core beers and seasonals every quarter. But as soon as we brewed the Pecan Porter and tasted it, I knew it was something I wanted to do forever and year-round. And so we're doing that. So we've added the Pecan Porter to the mix. It's an American porter in that it's got all basically the base malt and the hops and the yeast are American. There are some specialty grains from England on that beer that give it its black character, its color. and quite a bit of the flavor there as well. But it is it's about 6.8% alcohol. What's unique about this beer is that locally grown pecans are roasted and then added after they're crushed at the brewery. They're added to the grain mixture. So we soak those pecans basically with the grains and extract really a nice subtle nuttiness that gives this beer its uniqueness, I think. It's really very approachable. I get a lot of people who think that they don't like dark beer and have the pecan porter, and I've seen a lot of people convert it. So I really encourage you to try them. And also, Nate, who's here, who's been laboring back there, I want to give some props to for being out here. He brews. He's a brewer at 512, and he and I designed the pecan porter together, and he's just been instrumental in everything. And I want to make sure he gets recognition. And maybe next time he'll say a few words, because he's got a lot to say about beer. So if you have any questions at all, you can ask me or Nate about 512. We're also coming up on our anniversary. Like I said, a 1-year anniversary. We'll be out at the brewery in a couple of weeks doing an anniversary party and a new beer release. So we're excited about that. Thanks so much for coming out and supporting it. I think it's a great thing to support. I'm very proud to be here. And like I said, come see me and talk to me if you want. My name's Kevin.